Hello and welcome to Behind the Artist with Logan Ramey. This is episode 3 of season 1. Today my guest with me is Mr. Landon James. How you doing, Landon?
Good. How are you today, Logan?
I'm very good. I'm excited to interview you. Uh, Tell us a little about yourself, Landon.
So currently, I'm living in Lamont, Illinois, and I play a lot of instruments. Uh, that's basically a lot of it.
So, what kind of instruments do you play?
So I play guitar, I sing, I play drums, saxophone, piano. I'm kind of like open to learning a lot of instruments.
So you have a knowledge of all different stuff. Um, but there's a certain area of music that you enjoy that you've just started doing. Tell us a little about what that is.
Could you repeat the question?
There's a new thing that you've gotten into and started doing more professionally. Maybe you could tell our viewers what that thing is.
Yeah. So I'm an Elvis tribute artist, and I'll explain about that, and then after I'll explain about rock band. But first off, I've been Elvis tribute artist for about a year, but I've been like professionally starting for a year, and then past 6 years I've been getting into it. And also, I'm in a rock band, which I've been in that for about 3 years, and just starting to write original, starting to get on stage. But also, we play AC/DC, Black Sabbath, and Led Zeppelin music.
Very good. So you've got like a knowledge of all types of music. How does that help as an Elvis tribute artist having knowledge of other types of music?
Well, definitely like just the overall knowledge of other music and applying it to Elvis is a really good thing. And also just like notes, style, tone, I think played a big part because Elvis always had like a real smooth, very like a lot of clarity in his tone, and that stuff I learned from like band. I'm in contra band at school. I learned a lot from my teacher, a lot of people listening to music, bands. I think that just helped a lot when I sing Elvis.
Very good. So you just said that you've learned so much by being in a rock band and taking classes at school. And so we just got done with a contest at the Arcada Theater. Tell us a little about that and how it was with your first time playing with a Elvis tribute band and uh, and how that worked out for you.
Well, with the band, it was a little nerve wracking because I didn't know exactly what they were gonna do. But right before the contest, I looked them up and I kind of listened to how they played the songs, and then I compared it to the Elvis song, like "You Gave Me a Mountain," and I listened to them playing it with different Elvis tribute artists just to get the overall spectrum of what they're. And I think that was the most scariest thing because I didn't exactly know what. After watching the videos, I think that helped a little bit. And also, I didn't want to throw them off either, so I didn't want them to maybe throw me off or me throw them off.
Right. So you really watched the videos before you got into it. So speaking of that, because you really studied it, so how do you study before you play and go on stage? How do you study for a certain event?
Well, I think the most important thing is something I learned from Sean Clush. He gave me some advice right after one of his concerts. Like, the only person you ever want to listen to, don't listen to any other artist. Like, you could listen to other tribute artists' advice, but I mean just the overall voice, and all the moves and stuff. But watch that in Elvis and copy exactly what he does. I think Sean Clush, since he listened to that too, I think that's why he's really famous right now. He had a lot of gigs. I was actually supposed to go to one on the 20th, but it was just closed because of the virus. But then also, yeah, I think that helped a lot.
Yes, and mentioning the coronavirus, how we want to make sure our viewers out there are staying safe and practicing personal hygiene and let's just use some common sense, and we'll all get through together with the music. And so I kind of want to ask a few questions about the coronavirus. I know it's all you're hearing about, and it's really getting shoved down. But how is this affecting the musicians and the performers and all these cancellations? How has it affected you?
Well, I'm supposed to go to the Branson festival or the showcase um, on April 1st to 5th, but I don't even know if they're doing it right now. So I'm kind of nervous because I don't like if I don't know they're doing it and I go there and show up and nothing's going on, then that's kind of like I just drove from Illinois to Missouri just to do nothing. But it also like the Arcade Theater just shut down. Like
I
they're
saw that. That was crazy,
um,
but very smart move.
yeah,
Very smart move.
it was very smart of Ron Onesti to close everything down. And he said the music like he wanted to keep it up because, but also for the safety, he shut everything down. And I think that was a very
Well, another thing is, I have to go to. Well, I don't. I have to go to. I get to go to April 20. I forget the dates, but it's in the 20 April something. Waterloo, Iowa, Blue Suede Memories, and that's always a great time. And I have a blast. Everybody there is the nicest. Great COH band is always on top of their game. So we're all just hoping we get through this and nothing else gets canceled. And we're gonna fist bump for now. But anyway, yeah. So moving right along with these questions, let's. I try to keep a positive show here and not try to get you away from that stuff. So let's move over. Um, so you've been an Elvis fan for as long as you can remember, obviously. But what got you transitioned into listening to Elvis to saying, "Hey, I'm gonna put on a jumpsuit and I'm gonna sing his stuff"?
yeah. So basically, after like a few years of listening to Elvis, just singing, dancing to his material, and watching a lot of his movies, I think that really kind of inspired me to go out and music. But also at the same time, my parents went to see some impersonators, tribute artists at like festivals and stuff, and I think that also helped. Also, because I listened to them, wow, I want to be on stage and do that. That was one of the big things.
Yeah, it's very cool how Elvis, and I think Elvis is the only performer that had this about him, that if you look at him and listen to him, he had this presence. And if you go see, I don't know, let's say, just for example, I mean, like the Rolling Stones, for just throwing it out there. I mean, the Rolling Stones are a phenomenal band. Don't get me wrong, I love the Rolling Stones, but they don't have that like, hey, I want to get in a band. Sure, they got great stuff, but Elvis had, that charisma and the stage presence. So tell us how that's rubbed off on you.
Well, I agree with a lot of the stuff you're saying, but and I think the power Elvis had through used a lot of his diaphragm because I can't hit the high notes like I'm trying, but I keep practicing. But like he was confident too. I think his voice and his move came from being confident, also just knowing what he was doing on stage. And um I think like the power though like really helped him like get the crowd involved. Also voice it's also in his move very charismatic or the word said charismatic, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying, but um, Elvis had this. I don't know what the word is to describe it other than charisma. But he had so much more than that. I mean, he was just one of a kind. Sure, I'm sure there's been other bands before him and after him, but he really is at the top, and everybody else is kind of down here. So,
Wait,
you get what I'm saying.
yeah, I
But
want to add something because I just remembered I just drew a blank before. Elvis had the confidence. I could tell, like, even if he messed up a lot, like, I bet when he saw the 70s, he messed up somewhat on stage. He would forget the words, or he'll just kind of mess around on stage, but he was confident in himself, and I think that's what really, like, made him very good.
Right, and when he would mess up or forget something, he had a way of like making a joke out of it, like
Yeah.
make it entertaining, you know. So I think how does stuff like that affect you, seeing that and like when a Spinal Tap moment happens on stage, how do you play it off?
Yeah, well, if I mess up, I always have this idea, like, if I ever mess up, I'm just gonna maybe act like I didn't mess up, but at the same time, if it's such a big mess up on stage, you know, like I forget the words, I'm just gonna kind of do what Elvis did, like you're saying, just say something funny or kind of just do something to get out of that and like make the crowd think of something else other than me messing up. Because I was thinking about that during Windy City competition. I was like, on the day of, I was like, I hope I don't forget the words, and if I do, I'm gonna have to just act like something funny happened, or just do something funny, maybe say something funny, give a scarf out, but I didn't even have scarves out, so that wouldn't have been a good thing.
Well, see, it's always good to have like a backup plan. Like, okay, if this happens, that I'm gonna do that. And um, the next question I'd like to ask you is from your I guess experience of doing the Windy City, because that was really your first like major event that you did. How did that like affect your view of the Elvis tribute world?
Well, after going there, I realized there's a lot of Elvis tribute artists. Like, I thought I was like one. I didn't know, like, for meeting you and Saeed and also like other people like youth artists. I didn't know there's many youth artists. I thought I was like the only one. And then I see there's all these other ones, and I was like, that's awesome because then I get to have some friends which are in the same kind of thing as me. Uh, I just thought that was the most surprising thing.
Well, I don't. I'm gonna have some personal views here, but I don't really care for the term youth.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
I prefer, next generation or something like that. I don't know. Maybe it's just me because I'm always like the business guy, trying to come up with creative names or something. But I think I think it's more than youth. I think we have I think the younger people, I guess, I think they're overlooked. But
yeah,
because I mean, it's all about having the heart and the passion. And I mean, if you're good, you got talent. I mean, So don't get me wrong. I mean, there's fantastic artists. I mean, Sean Cluss, Gary Wesley. I mean, all these guys are so great and good to look up to. But you know, let's uh, let's look at them and see how they do and learn from them. You know what I'm saying? Because Gary, he's helped me out a tremendous amount, and Chadwick Gates as well. Um, they've really helped me, and I've looked how the business works, and I'm glad to call them my friends. So, who has helped you become like help you?
well, I have my music teacher actually, my few like minutes away, just like 1 minute away. So I go there like every week, get a voice lesson. And then also, I just kind of help myself. But also, when my grandpa came to watch me, and my grandparents, like my whole family basically came to watch me at the Windy City. And before that, my grandpa and I were just going over the songs, and he'd give me some little advice, just about singing very powerful class and all that. So there's a lot of people like in my life which help.
Well, it's very cool how you have a big supportive system, and that's always great because there's a lot of things that happen when you do this. So you got people to go to and talk about it. So that's fantastic. Um, So, what did you feel when the audience react? How did you feel the audience reacted to your performance?
Well, like when I was younger, I just knew I always liked to entertain. I don't know like why. I just always had that kind of like I need to entertain the crowd. So like when I was on stage, I would do something kind of like what Elvis did, and actually like what I learned from other Elvis artists, like kind of like the joke making and stuff. That's plays into it. Also, just like talking to the crowd, and I think the crowd reacted really well during the competition. Like some things I could have done better personally, but I think like me to the audience, I feel like the audience really like enjoyed my performance. I kind of involved the crowd, just get them all hyped up because I was like, "Are you ready?" And they're stuff. I think that was something cool about it too, kind of entertaining.
Well, from what I noticed, because that was your first, was that your first ever tribute gig or your first?
That was my first ever competition. I really never did any Elvis gigs. Like I told you, I performed with my friend at nursing homes, but that wasn't. I I sung Elvis songs, but it wasn't like really professionally, I guess I can say.
So that was really your first.
Yes.
Wow, that's awesome because my first show was a nightmare. So that was fantastic for your first show. I mean, if that's your first show, I mean, imagine what your 100th show is going to be like.
Yeah. Yeah, the competition was very nerve-wracking, and like I'm very critical about what I do and sing, on stage after the competition. As soon as I got back, because that ended around like midnight. 'Cause I remember driving home, and I was really well. I didn't drive home. My parents drove me home. I was really
No, no, you took an Uber.
yeah, Uber. I Ubered it. But
This is this series is not sponsored by Uber, by the way.
yeah, but basically when as soon as I got home and I got the camera, my videotape with, and I connected it to the TV, and I was like looking at myself. I was like, I didn't do good at all. But
Oh
then
yeah.
I was like, but I was kind of thinking that anyway because it is my first, but I know it's not going to be my last. But when I watched it, I was like, there's some things I could do better with my moves. Also, things I learned from you personally. There's some moves you did which I want to kind of use because like pokes out Annie. There's that famous like footwork and stuff, and I was really off with it. And then also my just voice. Some of my voice was I think the best thing about the performance, but moves is something I'm gonna have to look into.
Well, it's one of the best things I think that anybody could do is record yourself and listen to it because my old choir teacher used to say, recordings don't lie. And so you got to listen to yourself and work from there. But for your first show, that was, I think, pretty solid.
Thank you.
For
Yeah, my teacher, also my voice lessons teacher, told me to record myself. And like, see, when I sing into the phone, I'm expecting it to sound great. But as soon as I turn on the recording, it's like the total opposite. And I bet you probably had those moments too, where like, I don't know, just like from my perspective, I sound good, but from the phone speaker going on into my ears, it's like, huh, that doesn't even sound like me. Yeah,
well, Landon, I'd like to close it out today. And thank you so much for watching. And make sure you go to LoganRameyETA.com. They got some pretty good stuff. I was looking at it, and I think I'm gonna buy some stuff. But anyway, that's a pretty good website. Whoever designed that did a really good job. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Thank you to Landon. See you next week. Thank you so much. Thank you, Landon.
thank you. Bye bye.